Hello, it is 9 p.m. in Djibouti. It's time to English news editions, and we have for tonight headlines. The head of state chaired the ceremony for official openings of the 11 Indian Ocean Games. The launch of the 11 Games of the Indian Oceans 2018 ministerial meetings of the country member is held at Kempinski. Because on international scene, Donald Trump display his assurance in North Korea. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, has launched today in the early evenings in the 11 Games of the Indian Ocean. This event, initiated by the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, has brought together 6 other countries to know Mauritius, Madagascar, Comoros, Mayotte, Réunion, Seychelles, without forgetting the host country, Djibouti. Upon his arrival at Guled Stadium, the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, was accompanied by the First Lady, Khadra Mahmoud Haid, and was welcomed by the Prime Minister, Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Kamil, the Ministers of Madagascar, the Indian Ocean Games, and General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. This event for Seychelles proposed to promote the sports in all its splendors and all disciplines combined in Africa and in the countries of the Indian Ocean. This evening opens therefore a series of events which will combine sports competition and dances, highlighting the cultural specificity of each participating country. It should be added that after the parade of each country following the openings of the ceremony, we will have the opportunity to enjoy the song and shows, the symbols of games, the symbols of this multicultural meeting, bringing together some countries of Africa and islands that not the Indian Ocean. The event initiated by the Secretary of State for Youth has brought together 6 other countries to know Mauritius team, Madagascar team, Comoros team, Mayotte, Réunion and Seychelles, without forgetting the hostess country of Djibouti. This evening the top in color will be for a series of cultural performance with including shows and songs complemented having a musical background and multifaceted brief melting pot siblings will adore the spectator, the guests and officials who have had the chances to be on site. It should be added that after the parade of each country following the openings of the ceremony, we will have the opportunity to enjoy the songs and show, the symbol of games, the symbol of this multicultural meeting, bringing together some countries of Africa and the islands that are the Indian Ocean. Let's recall that this event, which opens this evening, is the first fruit to a week which will be rich in sport, event and cultural. In the framework of the 11 games of the Councils of Youth and Sports of 7 countries of the Indian Ocean, under the high patronage of the President of the Republic, Ismail Margele, ministerial meetings of Ocean Indians Committee is unfolded this morning at the Kempinski Hotel. The ministers of countries concerned met this morning under the chairmanship of the President of the Minister of Youth and Sports of Madagascar, who welcome warms and fraternal welcomes of the government of the Republic of Djibouti. For his part, the Secretary of State of Djibouti for Youth and Sports, His Excellency Hassan Mohamed Kamil, expressed for his share the pride for our countries to host the games of the Commissioners of Youth and Sports of the Indian Ocean, and has welcomed the ministers to the experts as well as the experts in the Republic of Djibouti. The meeting of experts of the country concerned has followed by elsewhere at these ministerial meetings to discuss the details relating to the organizations of these 11 games of the Indian Ocean and the prospect of the organization for the years to come. To note, in addition, that the official launch ceremony of the games of the Indian Ocean, chaired by the President of the Republic, Ismail Margele, will take place today at the beginnings of the evenings at the Guledi Stadium. The Games of Indian Ocean, which were held for the first time in Djibouti in the aftermath of the discount of official documents recognizing our country as the capital of tourism and culture for the year 2018, will be a great visibility for our country that has been elected World Capitals of Tourism and Culture by European councils. 1,000 young people from 7 countries aged between 14 and 17 years will participate in the competition, which will enroll in Djibouti in 5 disciplines, has begun by football, handball, and all the conditions have been put in place for the success of these games, intended to promote the friendship and brotherhood between the young peoples and the countries of the Ocean Indian. The Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Hassan Mohamed Kamil, in a speech on this occasion, say, in effect, we have the great honor to welcome the 11 games of the Ocean Indian in a period where our country has for the designated as capital of tourism and culture. Djibouti was already known for its legendary hospitality, youth friendship, and brothers and sisters. The Ocean Indian Games, which will have all the leisures to discover more amples our beautiful culture. The Ocean Indian Games is a large family with a culture and common vision that is shared through a range of sport activity and youth devoting to our young people of 14 to 70 years in spite of cardinal values to make play, respect, human and equity, because young people are considered as a vulnerable group by the many challenges they face through their journey of socio-economic integration. For his part, the President of the Ministers' Councils of the Ocean Indians Council has in his interventions remembered that these are occasions as these games that make us proud to belong to the great family of the Ocean Indian. Committee has the associate a great history that began in 1995 by the Games of Mauritius and which continue until 2018 in Djibouti to enable us to find here. And we have also a strong delegations of the government of Djibouti, senior managers of the public administration led by the Minister of Economy and Finance traveled to Washington, D.C. to participate in the spring meetings organized jointly by the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. The delegation was composed of the Minister of Finance and Economy, and the Ministers of National Education and Vocational Training, the Minister Delegate in charge of decentralization, the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, as well as their collaborators, in order to make it more coherent as a strengthen coordination is the Secretary of State responsible for social affairs and the Ministry Delegate in charge of the decentralization. We put in common their agenda for ideal for deal together with decentralization and social protection. Social protection is a powerful means to combat the poverty and promote growth. It allows to reduce the chronic poverty and the vulnerability of immediate ways, in particular due to the fact of the programs allow poor households to meet their basic consumption needs, to protect their property and to improve their health, their nutrition and their education. Social protection also contribute of share in the development of the local economy by the improvement of the functioning of the market of labor, the stimulation of local market thanks to the cash transfers and the creations of community infrastructure, and the others hand the general economy grows by the stimulations of aggregate demand and the support of economic reform difficult. The Secretary of State for Social Affairs has developed a new strategy of social protection 2018-2022. For the operationals of this strategy, the Secretary of State for Social Affairs is aware that it's essential to take into account the issue of proximity and the quality of services offered to the active participations of the community in the designs and implementation of projects of social assistance, as well as the appreciation of the service offered by the populations, by the also convinced that a policy of social protection can be implemented effectively only in the decentralized as well as the two ministers have decided to carry out joint missions to Washington, D.C. to discuss with experts to the issue of social protection and local development. As well, during their mission, several meetings of exchange and share with the experts were held on how the implementation of the program of social protection can be accelerated on the one hand, and the process of decentralization can make effective and efficient social protection in the aim of strengthening the resilience, the equity and development opportunity, and in a comprehensive manner the local development. The Minister of Decentralization has presented the political visions of the government of Djibouti in the area of decentralization, in insisting on the empowerment of region and the ownership of the process, including the strengthening of the capacity of institutional actors of decentralization, the support of the masteries of the work and the territorial communities, and to transfer skills from workforces to strengthen the communication wires around the decentralization process for greater participation and understanding and of population. The implementation of regional development plan. In the field of social protection, international experience has shown that a system of social protection will design it, land, implement in an effective manner is a powerful way to build the country, the values of human capital and the increase of productivity, they eliminate poverty, to reduce inequality and contribute to the social peace. After taking part in the ceremony declaring Djibouti as the world capital of tourism in the mornings of the members of the cabinet of the President, the European Councils of Tourism have visited yesterday afternoon the port infrastructures of capital hosted by the President of the Authority of Ports, Mr. Abubakar Omar Hadi. The member of European Councils have first visited the facilities of the container terminals of Dorale. Arrivals at the Dorale, the services, the docks, the services officials of the Cabinet of European Tourism have benefit from the explanations of the President of the Authority of Ports and the new directors of the Society of Ports, and the explanations exist on the daily works of ports installation to the terminal end. Visitors are welcome to see the equipment is ultra-modern of the terminal of Djibouti. Basically, the displacement, the members of the European Council and the President of the Council, Dr. Anton Karega, have then directed to the DMP, the multi-purpose port of Dorale, armed on places. The visitors to Mark have been warmly welcomed by the employees and responsible of the DMP. Here also the members of the official delegations of the European Council of Tourism said they were surprised to see such installations in an African country. The President of the Authority of Ports, Mr. Abu Bakr al-Haddi, thanked these times undertook to give some information to the work of ports, which has equipment that is very sophisticated as the portals. The activities of the operating block of the General Hospital Peltier had experienced increased with the arrivals of a new specialty such as neurosurgery. In effect, the neurosurgeon Dr. Danka and his team are at work each day to save and care for patients of all ages for achievement of malformations of the cerebral column and hydrocephalic discs. All other neurological conditions have the images of these children who present a hydrocephalus and which has the possibility to be operated by the teams of Dr. Dianka in the block operative of Peltier Hospital. In effect, if previously these types of operations requiring a high technology could not be treated in Djibouti, today the Department of Health is freed from his gaps by strengthening the medical equipment, modernizing the technical places and with the specialists in order to provide all the care qualified on place. This strategy aims to respond effectively to the health needs and the populations of Djibouti in care and health delivery of quality and at lower cost. The national workshop on the consultation is with a view to the development of the protocol of IGAD, the free movement of persons in the IGAD regions of the closer today to Tajura. This workshop has been organized by the Intergovernmental Authority for Development, IGAD, so the participations of the Secretary Generals of the UNFT, Fatuma Musa, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior, Mr. Siraj Omar Abdul Qadir, and the Prefect of the region, Abdul Malik Muhammad Benoita, as well as the Secretary General of the Minister of Decentralization. Is approximately 18 people from different sectoral ministry, representative of non-governmental organizations of the civil society, as well as researchers and historians have helped to make the trip from Djibouti to take part in the national consultation. Took part has these foundations of 3 days. The specific objective of the consultative workshop nationals are to share information on the benefit of barriers to the free movement of persons in the IGAD region and generate national recommendations on the provision of the protocol on the free improvement of person. The whole meaning of this workshop, which aims to obtain contributions of national actors and experts of the benefit obstacles to the free movement of person. During these 3 sums and others have called upon to formulate recommendations on the provision of the protocol for us, as well develop a roadmap for the negotiations and adoptions of the protocol on the free movement of persons in the regions of IGAD. Recall that the thousands of years the city of Tajura is known to the obsesses entrance doors and our country, deemed also to be an anchor point important for the floating populations, as well as the White City has been chosen by the Intergovernmental Authority Development IGAD to shelter these 3 days. The foundation is building on the free movement of persons in the IGAD region. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior, Mr. Siraj Omar Abdul Qadir, thanked all the participants and this workshop. He said that this workshop so that this draft protocol of the free movement of persons of the IGAD is a transparent legal framework, sure and potentially beneficial to manage in a current ways our national migration policies. The service of general inspections of the work moves in the regions of the north with a view to carry out conformity checks on the legislative and regulations in the file of work. The main objectives of this control is included in the framework of the national policy of work, which is to cover all the extended from the territory of Djibouti where a place the economic activity a condition since sine qua non to allow the working relations, in effect a control of the undertakings of the northern region to know Tajura Lakassar Balfa was a request to the prefect of the region of Tajura, given that up to this day these regions still do not enjoy an antenna of the inspections of a work to meet the needs of user for resolving disputes, prevent employers and the non-compliance by report to the labor code, provide advices or guidance. The operations will take place on 2 days, that is to say 18 April on 19 April 2018, given that the companies to check are split geographically. Furthermore, this control is planned jointly by the General Inspections of the Work and the CNSS. The control of compliance of the labor code in the work in all its aspects is the master word of this campaign of 2 days, aware of the ignorance and the texts of labor code on the parts of largest member. The Inspectors General Abdi Farah stresses the importance of the primary role of the control and inspections of the work on the grounds, including when to the physical meetings of the social partners, enterprises, and sometimes the only ways to detect abuse, deficiency, or gaps. And in the framework of the project of support to the actors and non-state, non-governmentals of Djibouti in the development of economic activity aimed perennial food security and integrating the preservation of natural resources, financed by European Union, drivers by the NGO SOS Sahels, and executed by the actions more Obaho in the framework of meetings of the framework of consultation organized by the regional councils of Obok in partnership with the SOS Sahel and Actions More Obok, a meeting of reflections and on the theme adapted response in rural area. In the phases of Alia, the recurrent drought is held on 2018 in the meetings rooms of the regional council in the presence of the regional authority prefectures and the NGOs involved in the regions in order to put in place a plan of actions. And in the regions of Dakhel, the ANFIB in collaborations with the prefecture of the region of the United has organized a training session for the young unemployed in order to facilitate the access to employment. Training has been closed yesterday in the presence of the authorities of the region and the delegations of the ANFIB. This training is organized by the ANFIB in collaboration with the Agency of Education Development Center (EDC) on the core competencies of the employability and entrepreneurship aimed to prepare the workforces of Djibouti, including the young job seekers, young applicants, regions of the Hill, as integrate on the labor market and to respond to the needs for the private sector and the Djiboutian economy and of the regions of unit. Recall that since the beginning of these trainings programs, more than 600 young people have benefited from these trainings, and several taxes of young unemployed participate in this training. At the end of the training, the certificate is being assigned. The ceremony of closed trainings took place at the regional councils in the presence of the president of the regional council, Abdulrahman Yunus Arre. The fight against unemployment is the priority of government headed by our president, the authorities of the regions, and the health tank, the ANFIB and partners of these trainings that will allow the young persons to accommodate the basic skills and entrepreneurship. This program will be a good alternative for decrease the rate of jobs among young people. Still in the framework of the fight against illegal immigration, in the night of 19 April 2018, the gendarmes of the mobile grouping stationed to the positions of La Casale have once again conducted a sweep operation in the sectors of the drillings of Anglais. During this cooperation, the gendarmes have questioned 430 migrants of Ethiopian origin, including 71 women wishing to all go in the countries of Gulf. The latter were very weakened by hunger and thirst. Humanitarian assistance in food and water has been provided to these migrants. At the end, they have been reappointed this day, April 2018, at the borders of Galilee with the means assembled by the gendarmerie. The gendarmerie is the forces the first plane in terms to assist the population in travel, because the latter is located on all places taken by the migrants. And concerning the international scene on the Euro area, Emmanuel Macron wants to convince Angela Merkel. The French president has pleaded on Thursdays in Berlin for introductions of more financial solidarity between countries of the Euro area to avoid a new crisis facing the skepticism of Germany on the issue. On the plan of economic and monetary affairs, we must better restructure responsibility and solidarity for the countries concerned, declared to the press the French head of state to the sides of the Chancellor Angela Merkel. No monetary union remains if there is no elements of convergence, and therefore what we want to work, these are elements that are more incentive and consist which allows good solidarity within the monetary union. He added specifically among the projects of the foundations of Europe, France called to his best wish for the creations of an autonomous budget for Euro area to support the investments of event in the creations of posts of ministers of finance and the monetary union. Germany, which traditionally redoubts of having to pay for countries to spenders, is very skeptical. And we have 45 injured in a train accident in Austria. More fierce than evils in Austria. Some 16 people were injured in the stations of Salzburg. More slightly, a simple maneuver of connection poorly executed between two trains to Vienna, one from Zurich and others from Venice. 240 passengers were on board these trains at right and still in their box at the times of the accident. And this is it for tonight news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.